So what makes Tom Brady, LeBron James, Serena Williams, Michael Phelps, Derek Jeter, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Simone Biles, and Lindsey Vonn so great? What makes great athletes great? Is it their innate abilities, intelligence, or inborn physical capabilities? Or does it have everything to do with motivation and circumstance? Specifically, when it comes to sports, it's a combination of a bunch of things that make great athletes great. But particularly as it relates to sports, all of the mental strength and opportunity in the world won't help you if you're not physically capable of performing at the highest level of sport, right? You look at a teenage boy who may have the best hook shot on earth, but if he's only 5'8", he will not be posting up anyone in the NBA. As the former Utah Jazz coach said, Frank Layden, he noted that you can't teach height. But of course, innate physical ability isn't enough either. History is littered with these can't-miss prospects who, well, missed. Yes, of course, you can get pretty far with physical abilities, but to be truly great, to really be one of the best, you must have it all. Physiological skills, physical capabilities, opportunity, and finally, the psychological capabilities to take full advantage of all of these traits. And if you look at all three of these contributors, right, you have physical capabilities, you have opportunities, and all of those things are not fully in your control. You're born with a set of genes, a peak level of talent. Yes, you can create opportunity through hard work and persistence, but that is somewhat out of your control as well. You really only have full control over the last one, which is your mind, which is your psychological capabilities. As a human, we can train three things: our body, our craft, and our mind. Our body, of course, we can train to get stronger, faster, bigger, but we can't get taller, right? We only have a ceiling to reach when it comes to our body. Yes, we can adapt and change and grow and get better and improve, but there is a certain level of talent and threshold that we have to be one of the greats. And of course, craft. We can always get better at our skill over and over and over. We can be constantly improving. We can be the best at getting better when it comes to our craft or our skill. But you see the example from above, the 5'10" teenage boy who has the best hook shot on earth. Obviously, he's mastered his craft, but the body didn't reach up to the physical capabilities. And of course, there's outliers and exceptions to every rule. Of course there is. But then we have the last thing, our mind, which is really what we can train to unlock the best version of ourselves, to unlock these psychological capabilities. And so the reason I started this and say all this is that we may never, again, have these physical capabilities of our favorite athletes. We may never have them, but we can all harness the same psychological powers and skills to be great in whatever domain that we are in. So in my work with athletes, I've been able to identify 4 very important psychological qualities that we see in great athletes that we can develop in our lives to become our very best. So what makes great athletes great is some of these psychological capabilities that no matter our physical capabilities, we can develop these things. So number 1 is sort of a combination of drive, consistency, and effort, right? Like interchangeable with maybe determination or being relentless, but it's drive, it's consistency, and it's effort. It's the combination of those 3 things that are sort of the number 1 psychological quality, right? The problem with superstar athletes is that you only see the final result. Nowadays, it's a little bit better, right? Because we have social media and we can go behind the curtain, but you just see the final result. You see the greatness, but not all the hours they put in on the court, the field, the track, the road, the locker room, the weight room, wherever it is. Whether you call it, motivation or determination or commitment, the great ones have it in spades. They work just as hard as they possibly can, and the drive is usually propelled by an intense passion for their sport. They love just playing the game. I mean, Kobe Bryant is one of the most prime examples of this, right? Even for all of his talent that he had, he was the first one on the court and the last one off. Consistency is really the only path to greatness. But we also know nowadays with sort of advanced scientific research that we must rest and recover just as hard if we want to be truly great at our craft and really reach our full potential. So that's one. Number two is confidence. And I'm not talking about arrogance or cockiness. I'm talking about a deep and resilient belief in the great one's ability to achieve their goals or reach their targets. I'm talking about an intense trust in oneself, because that's what confidence is. Confidence is intense trust in oneself, and the great ones have it. Yes, of course, just like anyone else, doubt creeps in and some of these normal emotions creep in, but they have the psychological skills to harness that back in and do what they need to do, because you may not always feel confident, but you can always behave confidently, and the great ones always behaved confidently. They just know that they will succeed even though they don't always, right? Back in the 80s, there was a poster of Michael Jordan taking a last-second shot. The caption read something like, "I was given the ball 27 times with 10 seconds left in the game and the winning shot in my hands, and I missed." That didn't stop Michael from wanting the ball and taking the shot, because MJ, like more than maybe anyone else, believed he would make the next shot. Self-confidence is the fastest way to boost your performance. And one of the key drivers of self-confidence is self-talk. We need to ensure that our internal dialogue, what we say to ourselves, supports our highest and best performance. And great self-talk is built on credible evidence that you are who you say you are. And this Babe Ruth quote sums it all up. Every strikeout brings me closer to my next home run. So again, confidence. You may not always feel confident, but you can always behave confidently with great self-talk, great body language, and a total intense trust in oneself. Then you have number three, calm and optimism. It's obvious, right? It's obvious the great ones know how to handle pressure. They stay calm, cool, and collected when others around them are potentially freaking out. They perform their absolute best when the lights are on the brightest. You think Tom Brady, you think Derek Jeter, these guys who just get it done when everyone is watching, right? Imagine you yourself taking an exam or giving a work presentation in front of 80,000 people who are letting you know that in no uncertain terms, they want you to fail. You can remember the drive by the 49ers against the Bengals in Super Bowl 23 in 1989. A lot of old references in this video of Michael Jordan and now the drive in Super Bowl 23, but here we are. The Niners were down 16-13, had 3 minutes and 10 seconds left to move the ball 92 yards to win the game. Quarterback Joe Montana looked at his teammates in the huddle, smiled, and asked if anyone had noticed John Candy in the stands. This is what ESPN reported. Everyone laughed. The pressure was taken down a notch, and Montana completed what was perhaps the most famous of his 31 fourth quarter comebacks in an NFL game. Montana definitely earned the nickname Joe Cool. Joe Montana was also Tom Brady's favorite athlete, and you can see the correlation between Joe and Tom. And what you can tell from that story is Joe Montana's optimism. Not only was he calm under pressure, but he had an optimistic mindset. He was relentlessly optimistic. And I've never met a high performer who doesn't have an optimistic mindset. Optimism, what is it? It's the fundamental belief that things will work out for the best through the appropriate effort and persistence. So not only am I calm under pressure, and this is just another moment for me, but I'm also relentlessly optimistic that things will work out for the best. Not naively, but through the right effort and persistence and attention, I'm calm and optimistic. And the best in the world, the great ones, are calm and optimistic. And again, these are all psychological capabilities that we can develop to become our very best. And number four, focus, or being in the present moment, or as I like to call it, win. What's important now? You can see it in the eyes of great athletes. It's like laser beams. It's their spotlight of attention. It's their flashlight focused on whatever needs to get done. The most important thing. They've trained their attention. They've trained their concentration. They're totally focused, blocking out distractions, whether it's other competitors, expectations, fans, nerves, conditions, past mistakes, or even future results. They're focused on what's important now, the present moment, being exactly where their feet are. Because if they're not, they're getting beat. They're one step too slow and they're getting beat. So they have to be. There's no other way. Your attention has to be paying attention to the right thing at the right time, at the right moment. The great ones understand what's important now and how to be exactly where their feet are. Again, that's something that we can train. No matter what our physical capabilities are, we can train these psychological capabilities so they can become psychological powers. Being able to pay attention to the right things at the right time. So I've identified those 4 traits as things that we can develop so we can be great in our own domain, so we can be like our favorite athletes regardless of the physical capabilities. So it's about drive, consistency, and effort, that confidence, that real intense trust in oneself, that calm plus optimistic mindset, and that focus of being in the present moment, of knowing what's important now. And so, yes, you may never have the physical tools of your favorite athletes, but you can be great. You can be great in whatever you do if you take the time and effort to develop your psychological powers. And thank you for your time and attention. I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers.